Welcome to Golden Software's video training for Grapher 12. Grapher is a powerful 2D and 3D graphing software package. In this video, I will cover saving, exporting, and printing files in Grapher. These commands can only be performed from the full version of Grapher. We will begin with a completed graph open in the plot window. Saving a file will save all aspects of the plot, so we can open the file in the future in order to modify it. As with most programs, clicking File, Save will save the file to the same name, format, and location. Click File, Save As to open the Save As dialog, where you can save the file to a new name, location, and/or format. There are three Grapher 12 file formats that you can save to: GRF, GRT, and GPJ. The GRF format, which is the default save file format, stores the graphs internally without the data. Instead of saving the data, it saves a link to external data files, such as DAT, CSV, or XLS files. As such, if you want to edit the data, you must do so in the external data file. Changes to the data file will update the graphs in the GRF file. This file type is useful when you will be updating your data files frequently. The GRT file format is a template file format, which saves the graphs without including any internal data or links to external data. As such, when you open a GRT file, you will be prompted for the data files needed to create the graphs. This file type is useful when you'll be creating the same types of graphs from different data files. The GPJ file format is a project file which saves the graphs and the data internally. As such, changes to the original data file used to create the graph will not update the graph. To update the graph with new data, you will need to open the internal worksheet in the Worksheet view and make edits there. Likewise, changes to the internal worksheet will not be saved to the original external data file. This file format is useful if you will be sending the file to others, since you won't need to send additional data files as well. In addition to these three Grapher 12 files, you can save GRF or GPJ files that can be opened in the previous four versions of Grapher. New features are not backwards compatible, so if you have features in your project that were not in the version you are saving back to, those features will not be present in the save file. And so your graphs will look different when the file is opened in that older version. We will set the Save As type to Grapher 12's project file format and click Save to save the file. If you wish to send your graph to someone who does not have Grapher, or you need to insert your graph into another application, you can use the export command. To export a graph, click File, Export. In the Export dialog, as with the Save As dialog, you will set the file name, location, and format. Grapher supports exporting to a wide variety of raster image file formats, such as TIFF, JPEG, and PDF, and vector file formats such as AutoCAD DXF, Esri shapefile, and EMF Windows Enhanced Metafile. We will select the PNG image format. Unlike the Save As dialog, there are three additional options at the bottom of this dialog. If the box next to Selected Objects Only is checked, our export will only contain the selected objects, which in this case is the bottom set of plots. We will leave this unchecked so our export will contain the entire graph. If the box next to Show Options dialog is checked, an options dialog containing additional settings will appear once we click Save in this dialog. By default, this box is checked. We will leave it that way. If the box next to Use Graph Coordinates for Export, when applicable, is checked, the exported file will use the graph coordinates rather than pixel coordinates when possible. We will leave this unchecked. Now we can click Save to proceed to the Export Options dialog. In the Export Options dialog, we can set the export options for the specific file type we've chosen. These will be different for each file type and can be viewed in the help. For an image format like PNG, the These options include pixel dimensions, document size, and color format settings. For this export, I'm going to click the Defaults button to verify that the export options are the default, and then I will click OK to complete the export. Rather than exporting, you can print your graph to a PDF printer and send it to a colleague, or you can print it to a physical printer so you have a paper copy for your records. To print a graph, click File, Print. In the Print dialog, in the Printer section, the available printers are listed in the Name drop-down list, and the advanced properties for the selected printer can be accessed by clicking the Properties button. We will use the default printer. In the Print Range section, like in the Export dialog, you can choose to export the entire graph or just the selected objects. We will keep this set to All to print the entire graph. In the Copy section, you can choose how many copies to print. We will keep this set to 1 to just print a single copy. In the Printing Method section, you can choose how the exported graph displays on the page. The three options are Truncate, Fit to Page, and Tile. Truncate prints only the objects that are within the page size as it is defined in the Page Setup dialog. All objects outside of the page will be clipped. Fit to Page reduces the size of the graph until the entire thing fits within the page size as it is defined in the Page Setup dialog. Tile splits the graph into multiple pages. When this option is selected, the Overlap section becomes available. Overlap, along with the scale, determine how many pages the graph is split into. In addition to determining the number of pages for the Tile method, scale can also be used with the Truncate method to increase or reduce the size of the print. 100% is the actual size, 200% would be twice as large, and 50% would be half as large. Click OK to begin printing. This concludes the video training for saving, exporting, and printing a file in Grapher 12. If you have any additional questions, please contact Golden Software.